Morning everyone. Today we're gonna start our chapter congruence of triangles. Now congruence of triangles, you already know about this particular chapter from class 7. We're just going to extend our knowledge of congruence from class 7 to class 9. So let us start our chapter with the help of a warm-up activity. Now the warm-up activity says, if you have two geometric figures, how can you prove that they are congruent? Okay, so the question is pretty simple. To check whether two figures are congruent or not, what can we do? We can overlap them on each other and check whether they are completely covering each other or not. If they are completely covering each other, then we can say that figures are congruent to each other. What about triangles? Can we say the same thing about triangles? Of course. If we take two triangles and we overlap them on each other, we can say that two triangles are congruent to each other. Now I'll give you a small question as a problem of the day, that what is the least amount of information we need to check whether two triangles are congruent or not. So what do we need the most? The minimum knowledge to check whether two triangles are congruent or not. Now that answer you can easily guess from this definition of congruence. Two geometric figures with exactly same size and shape are congruent to each other. So that minimum knowledge would be that you have to check their size and shape. Like in our particular figure, if you see that there are two triangles, triangle A, B and C and D, E, F. So these two triangles, if they are congruent, we can easily see that AB will be equal to DE and BC will be equal to EF, AC will be equal to DE. So if such a situation happens, we can say that both the triangles are congruent to each other. So this part you already know. Now if you look at this figure, you will see the real life application of congruent triangles. Now you can easily see that even though we have seen a satellite so many times, we have never observed that the stand on which the satellite is stable and strong, it is having lot many congruent triangles. The second figure, if you see, there are so many triangles in the bridge which makes it strong and stable, proving that triangles is the strongest shape of all. So here you can see there are so many congruent triangles which is used to make a particular monument or a bridge strong and stable. Now, if we have two triangles like this, say ABC and XYZ, where it's given that corresponding angles are equal and corresponding sides are also equal. Do we need all the six parts to be equal to prove that ABC is congruent to XYZ? Now try to think hard that every time we have a question of congruence, do we have to see all the six parts? So next part is that we will discuss on this. So can you see that there is a question here asking you to think that whether we need all the parts for proving two triangles to be congruent? The answer would be no. We don't need all the six parts. We only need to learn about certain criteria of congruence which help us to determine whether two triangles are congruent or not. So, criteria for congruence you already have studied. We'll quickly recap about it. The first criteria is SAS, where S stands for side angle side. SA stands for side angle side. Now this was the first theorem in class 7, but now it is going to act as our axiom. As I've already explained, axiom means that something which is a proven fact and we don't need any proof for it, we will use it to prove other theories and statements. So this particular SAS axiom will be used in our next criteria's proof. So what it says, you already know about it. If two sides and an angle included between the sides of one triangle are equivalent to the corresponding two sides and the angle between the sides of the second triangle, then the two triangles are said to be congruent by SAS rule. So the rule is pretty simple, that if you have two sides and an included angle equal to the second triangle, then we can say both the triangles are congruent. So it clearly shows we don't need 6 but only 3 parts of a triangle to be equal to the similar 3 parts of another triangle for congruence. In this figure, ABC and DEF, you can clearly see AB is given as congruent to DE or equal to DE. Angle A is equal to angle D. AC is equal to or congruent to DF. So by SAS axiom, we can say that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. So after that, what do we have to observe? We have to observe about the angle. The angle which we have taken here, A and D, they are special angles known as the included angle. We cannot take any other angle until and unless there is an angle between the two sides, that is the included angle. So that's our SAS axiom. Moving on to the next important theorem which we have to prove, that is ASA congruence. Now ASA congruence criteria is nothing but angle side angle criteria which we have learned from class 7, but what is different in class 9, we will actually prove and show from where we have got this particular congruence criteria. So the criteria is ASA congruence criteria states that if two angles of one triangle and the side contained between these two angles are respectively equal to two angles of another triangle and the side contained between them, then the two triangles will be congruent. So the criteria is very simple to understand, that if we have two angles and a side included in them of one triangle with the other, then we can say that two triangles are congruent to each other. You can look at the figure, and in the symbolic form it has been explained that if angle A is congruent to angle D or equal to angle D, AB is congruent to DE or equal to DE, angle B is equal to angle E, we can say that triangle ABC is congruent to the triangle DEF, where the side which you can see in the figure is a special side which is the included side. Okay, this is very important, that the side which you will choose has to be an included side between both the angles. Then only I can apply ASA criteria. So now once we have understood the meaning of the congruence criteria, so we will move on to the proof of ASA. Now to prove, you know the format. The format is given, to prove, and proof. So what is the given? In our case, we have triangle ABC and triangle DEF such that angle B is equal to angle E and angle C is equal to angle F and angle B and side B C equals to EF. We have to prove two triangles are congruent. Now when we are in a classroom and I start this particular theorem, there is a very common doubt that occurs many times. It might be occurring right now in your mind also, that ma'am, when we have B equals to E, C equals to F, BC equals to EF, why can't we just write A as A and it's congruent? Why do we have to learn such a lengthy theorem? So that's a very common doubt, but it's nothing related to the criteria. It is a general confusion that when we have learned something in advance and when we are learning the actual meaning of that particular topic in higher classes. Here we are actually learning ASA criteria's proof. In our lower classes, we have just learned the statement. So using the statement, you are trying to convince that ma'am, we can directly write ASA. But actually it is not like that. We will have to first prove it by SAS axiom, then only we can start using ASA criteria. So right now in 9th, we are learning the proof. In class 7th, we have just learned the statement. So coming back to our proof, we will have 3 cases, case 1, 2 and 3 to prove this theorem. Okay, now the cases are simple based on the common knowledge of maths, that when we have two things to compare, AB and DE, there can be 3 cases. One is AB is equals to DE, second is AB is greater than DE, and third is when AB is less than DE. So if you look at AB equals to DE, the first case, it is straightforward that in triangle ABC and DEF, there are 3 equal parts, AB equals to DE assumed, angle B equals to angle E given in the question, BC equals to EF also given. So using the SAS axiom, the triangles are congruent. So in case 1, it was very simple. We got the answer directly by SAS. But what happens in case number 2? If we take AB is greater than DE, we have to make a construction. What is that construction? That construction is take a point P on AB such that PB is equal to DE. Using that construction, we'll now try to contradict that case 2 can only be possible if it is same as case 1. Triangle PBC and triangle DEF are taken in this particular case. PB is equals to DE as we have already taken in the construction assumed. D equals to E given in the question. BC equals to EF also given in the question, which implies triangle PBC, which you can see in the figure, is congruent to triangle DEF. After you have shown the congruence by SAS axiom, what do you observe? You observe angle PCB is equal to angle DFE using CPCT. Now CPCT was congruent parts of congruent triangles. This you already know from lower classes. But ACB is equals to DFE. It is already given in the question. Now try to combine these two. You will see that ACB is equals to PCB from the above two equations. Now carefully observe it in the figure. How is it possible that ACB will be equal to PCB? It is only possible when P coincides with A. Otherwise, there is no such situation which can make ACB is equal to PCB. So if P is coinciding with A, then our case 2 automatically becomes case 1, and which we have already shown that the two triangles are congruent. Now case 3 you don't have to prove in such a lengthy way. It is almost similar to case 2 where AB is less than DE and you take a point M on DE such that AB equals to ME and repeat the same argument which you have used to prove case number 2. So by observing all the 3 cases, we can say that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. So this is how we have got our theorem for ASA. Now this is the only theorem which has a proof in your syllabus. Rest all the criteria will only have statements, so don't worry about having lengthy proofs in the coming topics. So this is the only such proof which you have to understand. Rest only applications are important. Now we'll thank you and have a nice day.